Hey guys, welcome back to a little discussion on protein for the beginner, but this will also be good for anyone just as a refresher. We're really going to be breaking down protein to its most basic form today. So if you are a beginner, I suggest getting a piece of paper and pen to jot some of this information down for your use to go and so you can start tracking this protein content on your macros. Okay, so to start off, we're going to use protein requirements for everyone. No matter who you are, I don't care. I really do suggest that 1 gram per pound of body weight that you should be getting in grams of protein per day. So for a 110-pound female, that will be 110 grams of protein. For a 180-pound male, that's 180 grams of protein. Really depends on how much body weight you have. Now those needs may go up in a state of like when you're dieting, or if you just like to have a little bit more protein in your day, like I do. I would never really bring them over 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. There's not really much need for anything more than that, even when you're dieting. But that is really 1 to 1.5, I say, is a really safe and effective range for your protein content. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to start to break down your protein foods, because this is one of those big questions that I get all the time is, well, what foods have protein in them, Kev? Or, I need to get so much protein. How am I going to get that? So when we're talking about this, when we're talking about, making meals, because that's eventually what this has to lead into, because we eat meals in our day. So our macros need to be adjusted by our meals. When we're talking protein, there's pretty much 3 categories that I break down my proteins into, and that's meats and fish, eggs, and dairy sources. Okay, these are going to be your 3 most high protein, with as low of other macros like carbs and fats. So as I go through this list, I'm going to tell you a serving size if I know it, and the relative macros for it. Okay, so I know there's some things that I'm going to be discussing, like chicken breast or maybe eggs that don't have a nutrition label on them, so it's going to be sometimes hard to find, and you can use these relative numbers to help you get started with tracking your macros. Okay, so number 1 is a bodybuilding staple for most people, and that's chicken. Okay, now chicken, the macro content will be dictated by the type of chicken. If it's a chicken thigh or chicken breast or chicken tenderloin, it's going to have slightly different content. Also, if it's breaded chicken, it's going to be way higher in carbohydrates. Chicken thighs are higher in fats. So I'm going to give you just a breakdown of what I normally eat, and that is I get the bagged Tyson chicken breast tenderloins, and this will be unanimous for tenderloins across the board pretty much. For 4 ounces of these Tyson chicken breast tenderloins, it's 24 grams of protein, 0 grams of carbs, and a half of a gram of fat. So virtually no fat, no carbs, and very high protein, 24 grams per 4-ounce serving size. So if you need 36 grams, you would go with 6 ounces of chicken breast, and that's pretty much how you can dictate and change these serving sizes. Okay, the next I would go with is turkey. Again, different parts of the turkey, or ground turkey. Okay, a lot of my clients say, I'm eating turkey burgers, I'm doing so great. I'm like, that's great, but what's the fat content of them? Because if they're like an 80-20, that's the same as getting an 80-20 ground beef patty. They're going to have the same fat content. So in relative terms, it's just about the same as a ground beef patty. When we're talking about if you're getting a lean, like a 99% lean ground turkey, then you're gonna have much more of a pure source of protein in relation to an 80-20 beef patty, which then might say that it might be more beneficial, more healthy, but that's just because it's keeping keeping lower and fat lower. But if you're fitting it into your macros, it really shouldn't matter. The next we will go to is beef. Okay, so beef, you're looking at steaks, ground beef, and when you're looking at steaks, I would generally try to stick with a leaner cut, like top round or eye of round, something that there's not really much fat inside of the meat, so you can actually take the fat off. I don't have those specific numbers in front of me right now. I do have specific numbers for ground beef though. I personally go with a 90-10 ground beef because that's the easiest for me to fit into my macros. Okay, it's low enough in fat and high enough in protein that I can fit it into a lot of different meals. It gives me the right ratio that I'm looking for in my meals. So for a 4-ounce uncooked to a 3-ounce cooked portion, and that's usually how much it cooks down, of beef, a 90-10 ground beef, you're looking at 22 grams of protein and 10 grams of fat, and that's for a 3-ounce cooked serving size. Okay, and then the last in the meat and fish is fish. Okay, fish is a great source of protein, very, very high in protein. Most fish is going to be very high in protein, very low in fat. These are fishes like haddock, tilapia, flounder, all the white fishes mostly are going to be really high in protein and really low in fat. Like haddock, for example, is per 4 ounces is going to be 21 grams of protein and a gram of fat, roughly. No carbohydrates. So you're looking again. But if you get breaded fish, higher in carbohydrates. Breading's gonna add carbohydrates. Salmon is another great choice for fish because it has omega-3 fatty acids, essential fatty acids that we need to get in the diet. These are the good fats. But you're going to have higher fat content, and you're still going to have a very high protein content, but you're going to have to balance that out with the fats too. Okay, so that's what you're looking for in that scheme. Okay, moving on, we have our eggs and egg whites. Okay, per egg you're looking at 6 grams of protein, 4.5 grams of fat, and per egg white you're looking at 3.5 grams of protein. I usually pair egg whites up, so you're looking at 7 grams per pair of egg whites, per 2 egg whites. And now, depending on how much fat you need in your day or your meal, you can have a combination of egg whites and regular eggs. Okay, I wouldn't suggest having a boatload of just regular eggs, even though they're higher in protein than one egg white. Because you're not going to be able to balance your fat out. If you have too many eggs, full eggs, you might be only getting one meal with fat in it. I don't necessarily think that's optimal. So I usually do a combination of eggs and egg whites, depending on how much fat I'm looking to get in that meal and how much protein. And so that's how I would do it. Moving on to dairy sources. Dairy sources, you're looking at pretty much milk, cheese. I would say Greek yogurt. Yogurt generally is not, regular yogurt's really not that high in protein. Kefir, which is something that I've been experimenting with lately, and whey protein, which a lot of people don't seem to realize that it's actually a dairy product because it's made from milk. It's a byproduct of making cheese, actually. So with milk, you're looking at, per cup, you're looking at 8 grams of protein, 13 grams of carbs, 0 grams of fat, and that's if you're getting skim milk or fat-free milk. As you move up in the percentages, you're going to be adding fat to it. I don't know because I don't drink the other ones. Cheese, every cheese is different, so just kind of got to look on the nutrition label. It should be pretty prominent on the nutrition label, and easy to figure out from there. Kefir, which I've been using kefir because it has probiotics, which are really good for immune and gut health. Per cup of kefir, actually, it's like 12 grams of protein, 12 grams of carbs, and like 2 grams of fat for the low-fat version, plain version that I've got. That's, you know, higher in protein than actual milk, so that's nice. And then whey protein. Whey protein is really going to vary about the type of whey protein, if it's a whey protein concentrate or a whey protein isolate, and the brand that it is and how much they have added to make it taste well or whatnot. Usually you're looking in the range of about, per scoop, 20 to 25 grams of protein, anywhere from a gram to 10 grams of carbohydrates, and anywhere from 0 to I would say about 5 grams of fat is generally the good estimation for most whey proteins. So those are the major players when we're looking at protein. Yes, there are going to be minor players too, like nuts and things of that nature, which I'll be covering in our fats portion of this introduction to the macros. But you know, those are higher in fat, so I put them in the fat category. So you're going to be getting additional protein from other sources, just like some of these protein sources like eggs are going to have additional fats to them. So we have to keep in mind that you're probably not going to get in your total entire number of protein from just these sources, but they're going to be the major contributor. These are going to be, they're going to knock out 90% of your protein intake for the day, just because they're going to be easier. I mean, if you want to, you can definitely search and look for other protein sources that may be higher in carbohydrates or higher in fats, but you're just looking at having to balance those. It might just be a little bit harder to balance those with trying to fit in your total macros for the day. Okay, so that's a pretty basic concept of protein. Hopefully I gave you guys some good ideas and a good list to go off of now going forward, so now you can track in and really start to hit that 1 gram per pound of body weight number. Okay, if you guys have any questions about protein, please don't be afraid to comment, ask me, or you can message me through Facebook. You can find us at PhotoFit Online on our Facebook page. You know, if you guys like this, please, you know, press that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe and share the word. Until next time, guys, have a good one.